So Calvin, we didn't get to speak to you after the Giga fight, so I don't know if you can remember much about it at this point because it was a few weeks ago. But how did you feel about that fight?
Good, man. I'm always on to the next one, especially after everyone wants to talk about the Max fight. I was on to the next one even before that fight, and even off a win, man. I'm always on to the next one, but happy to be out here, 271, not cutting weight, enjoying the fights.
What is it like to watch it as a spectator for once instead of actually having to get in there?
It's awesome, man. I always try to come out to these Texas events. My sister moved out here, married a cowboy, and so I never miss an opportunity to jump out and catch the fights in Texas, especially when the UFC can set me up with some arrangements out here, make the trip worthwhile. And it's always happy to be out here as a spectator, enjoying the fights with my sister.
What's it like having a cowboy as a brother-in-law?
It's funny, man. My big brother, he's 2 years older than me. He used to be, the biggest brother, but these Texans, man, they're pretty big, and it's good. He rocks the cowboy hat and some boots and that big shiny belt. So looking to have him put me on with some soon.
I've seen them around.
Yeah,
you should try it. You'd look good.
I'm trying to get me one, man, but I'm trying to get the right one. You gotta. There's a whole lot more to it than just spending some money. You got to get the right fit. So taking my time with it. I don't know if I'll have time to get one this trip, but soon.
What did you make of Giga's comments after the fight that he would usually be the winner, but for that fight he just didn't win?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's the right mindset for me. I wasn't really focused on the last guy, as much as the next guy, and even further than that. I'm usually focused more on myself than anything. He talked a lot before the fight, so I'm sure he's just kind of figuring himself out at this moment. But like I told him after the fight, really all you can do now is just take it out on the next guy.
What exactly is next for you? You said you're not here cutting weight, but when do you want to get back in there, and if so, who against?
There's a lot of talk about that. I don't know who it's going to be. I think I'm going to fight them all eventually. I don't really care in what order, to be honest. So just trying to stay ready, keep doing what got me here, which is putting in the work, head down, putting in the work. This is a nice little vacation out here, enjoying the time with my sister and my family, out here watching the fights. But excited to get home, back to work, and just be ready for whatever's next. Pays to stay ready in this business.
Do you have to be careful about eating too much barbecue, considering that you're a professional fighter and you have to get down to a certain weight at some point?
I eat pretty good, man, consistently. But the barbecue does taste good, especially out here. I get it in when I can, but when I get back to working hard, it comes off quick. So, no, I'm pretty good, man, but the barbecue is real good out here.
Thank you.
Hi, Calvin over here. What do you make of Max Holloway being able to recover so quickly that he could step in April?
I'm not reading too much into it. I mean, as a fight fan, just that would have been a good matchup, watching him and the champ go back at it, third time running it, especially after just the last two. But as far as, what got him ready or whatnot, I'm not reading too far into that. I feel like to question Max, man, it's kind of crazy. He took the Yair fight when he didn't really even need to. He was kind of next in line for the champ anyway, but he took it. So the champ and Max, I think those guys are two guys that don't really dodge anybody and want to fight the best guys in the world. So I got a lot of respect for them.
And I believe you've been a promoter for a while now, but there's some new guys on the block, Jorge Masvidal, Showtime Pettis,
yeah,
Habib
man.
Now. What advice would you have to give to them as a fellow promoter?
I think we all see Dana, he doesn't have a lot of hair I think for a reason, and that's not taking shots, man. This shit is stressful. You think fighting's stressful. When I took over promoting, man, I was like, it's a whole nother beast. But it's interesting seeing those guys jump at it, I think there's a lot more to it than people think. I found that out the hard way, but balancing both at this point in time, it's been pretty crazy. I've always, back before I got to the UFC, I had a dream that if I just got to the UFC, continue to win fights, it would only complement the promoting side. And so I'm finally in that groove now where I feel like my UFC career is complementing the fight game and vice versa. So I'm just excited to be, kind of putting on for New England, really, and paying it forward for the opportunities that I had. Because if it wasn't for the local promotion that I had, I wouldn't be in the UFC. Combat Zone was the only promotion in New Hampshire. And so kind of keeping that torch lit for the local guys to have an opportunity to compete and then maybe one day have these opportunities I have in front of me.
And this is stressful, it could be a stressful job. Dana White's bald. So how soon
I'm not trying to get fired, man.
How soon are you going to go bald?
How soon what?
How soon are you going to go bald and lose your hair?
I mean, I don't know. I got that Lebanese in me, so it's holding on strong, these cowlicks. But no, man, Dana's dealing with a lot, man, especially behind the scenes. We only see, the event side, Showtime, but behind the scenes, behind the curtains, especially through COVID, man, I have the utmost respect for what he's been able to do and, you know, keep the show alive. Thankfully for us as fighters, keeping us busy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calvin, to further to Chris's question, what do you make of Volkanovski essentially saying, you know what, Max, I'm not interested in you being the backup opponent?
I wasn't even really aware of that. There's a lot of shit talk that really, I think, is just that shit talk. You know what I mean? I think the champ wants competitors. He wants guys that are going out and earning it. And who better than Max at the moment? You know, he's a top dog aside from the champ. So it would have been nice to see them work that out and then kind of give some direction. But in came Zombie, you know, that provided an opportunity for him. He jumped at it. Good for him. See what he does with it. But I'm just sitting in the back burners, kind of staying ready for what's next for me. Kind of more so focused on myself, to be honest.
You fancy another go at Max?
I fancy another go with everybody.
Last one for me. You mentioned New England there. Are you a fan of Demetrius Andrade, and were you happy to see him kind of bring big time boxing back to the general area with his win over Jason Quigley?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always excited with you know, New England sports, New England especially fights, and yeah, anytime a guy from New England's going out there doing something and representing for New England area, I'm all behind it.
He's been struggling to get like the big fights in boxing. Would you welcome him to come over to MMA and give it a try?
I mean, I'm welcoming everybody, man, all opportunities. But for me, as far as you know, what's next, I just focus on the training, man. I got a manager that focuses on the right matchups. I don't really get too involved, man. I keep my job simple. That's why I, you know, take care. I have Tyson Chartier doing all the management for me. I just stay in the gym, keep my head down, go to work, keep my job simple.
The last few fights, Volkanovski, it seems like he kind of has like a chip on his shoulder. Like he just seems annoyed at his opponents a lot more than he was at the beginning of his UFC career. Do you think that's just a thing that he needs to get in his mindset? Like, I hate this dude to fight him, or he's generally just an agitated individual?
It's a good question, man. You have to ask the champ. But for me, I love going into the fight with chips on my shoulder. You know, I keep them all. If you remember the last fight, you know, Giga talked a lot of shit, gave me a lot of chips, but you guys were fishing for him, and I wasn't gonna give them to you. You know, not till fight day. I like to keep all the chips until it's fight day, and I go all in.
So how annoyed were you actually going into that fight? Like you said, you weren't really giving us anything, but now that it's over, how agitated were you at Giga before that fight?
I mean, it was more just ready for the next opportunity. Like I was highly motivated after the Max fight, year layoff, highly motivated. I didn't need much more motivation going into that fight. And then he started overlooking me, calling out the champ. So you can imagine, you know, how ready I was to go.